Now, Democrats they're not fully invested in 2020. They're not. Like I mentioned before, we have a lot of Democratic candidates who are in this race, and many of the casual voters are not fully aware of who everyone is. They're not. It's a big problem. When you have that many candidates, you're creating a lot of division. The article is going to be from Associated Press, but before we go into this article, go ahead and go to carlosredvids.com. That way you can directly support my work. You do not have to donate, but at the same time, I also encourage you to try out my website. We have a forum where you can post local news, statewide news, nationwide news, or worldwide news. You can become a member simply by just signing in. You don't. I do not charge for becoming a member. But if you want, go ahead and try my website, see how it works. That way you can provide me some feedback, and I can actually continue to update the website. But going back with the article, the title reads AP NORC poll: Democratic voters are not fully tuned in to 2020. Nearly 2 dozen Democratic presidential candidates have crisscrossed the country for 6 months, selling their vision of the United States. But on the eve of the first debates in the campaign, a new poll from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research shows most Democratic voters haven't fully tuned in. Only 22% of Democrats registered to vote say they know a lot about the candidates' positions, while 62% say they know a little, and only 35% say they're paying close attention to the campaign, with almost two-thirds saying they're paying some or no attention. It's kind of a blur, said Maggie Banks, 32, of suburban Denver, who has two young children and only has a chance to glean a few details about the race while listening to National Public Radio during her commute. Banks said she has only a vague idea of who's running and doesn't realize her state's senior senator, Michael Bennet, or former Governor John Hickenlooper were in the race. Voters like Banks comprise of the vast majority of Democratic electorate, implying there's a great potential for a change in what essentially has been a static race to date. Former Vice President Joe Biden holds a solid but not dominant polling lead, followed by some combination of Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, and Kamala Harris of California, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana. Behind them are a wide range of contenders, from Senate veterans like Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota to lesser-known candidates like internet entrepreneur Andrew Yang. The first big opportunity for candidates to break out out of that muddle comes with the 2 nights of debates this week, beginning Wednesday. Two groups of 10 candidates will get a chance to take their messages directly to a national primetime audience from the stage in Miami. The Democratic field is enormous and unprecedentedly diverse. It features several women, multiple candidates of African and Asian descent, one Latino, and a gay man. Buttigieg, who at age 37 is less than half as old as a frontrunner Biden. But majorities of Democrats say those characteristics make no difference on their level of enthusiasm about a presidential candidate. 4 in 10 Democratic voters said they would be more excited about voting for a woman for president, and 36% said same of a younger candidate. Only about a quarter were more excited at the idea of supporting a candidate who was black or Latino, while roughly 2 in 10 said they'd be more excited to support an Asian candidate or lesbian, gay, or bisexual candidate. What Democrats want the most is experience in elected office. 73% cited that as a quality they're looking for in a presidential candidate. Benji Grajeda, 50, of Santa Ana, California, was once excited at the idea that Hillary Clinton could become the first female president. Now he just wants stability. I don't think it matters, gender, said Grajeda, instead of citing experience in office as his top priority because Trump has no experience. This is true. Trump, when he entered office, he had zero experience. I chose not to vote for Trump because he didn't have any experience. But I didn't vote for Hillary either because I was pretty sick and tired of choosing between the lesser of two evils. That was my first time voting, and to my surprise, I didn't expect to say I'm not voting for either of them because I do not like that. I do not like that option. For me, I saw that option as simply saying, should I choose to get shot in the head, or should I choose to drink poison? That's how I saw the election of 2016. I didn't like either one. But that's just my opinion. I never really thought about it until he won. He's just not qualified, Grajeda said. There's a large appetite for the campaign among Democratic voters, 79% of whom say they're interested in the 2020 race. Republicans are only slightly less interested, with 73% reporting interest. But only about 3 in 10 voters overall say they're paying close attention more than 7 months before the first votes are cast in the Iowa caucuses. Some, like Charles G. Cooper, 57, of Orlando, Florida, say they figure it isn't worth tuning in too far before this week's debates, which they expect to help shape the field. Cooper supports Biden. I'm an Obama guy, and he was the vice president, Cooper said. But he knows the frontrunner has a history of gaffes during his past races and wants to see how he handles them. Adam Prater, 43, of San Diego, is also being strategic. He has studied up on the 5 candidates leading in the polls but studiously ignored the rest. Unless something extraordinarily happens, they're not going to make it, Prater said. The stakes are high in this week's debates, and another set will follow in late July. After that, it gets tougher, it gets tougher to get onto the main stage. For the third debate in September, the Democratic National Committee is requiring candidates to receive donations from 130,000 or more individuals and poll at 2% or higher in 3 polls. Analysts and many campaigns think that the difficulty raising money if a candidate does not continue to qualify for the debate stage will winnow the field down quickly. Banks hopes so. Her husband is a fan of New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, and she likes Bernie Sanders, but she doesn't know how she could learn enough to judge the current sprawling field. Some people will be weeded out as we go along, and I want that to happen so I can look at everybody's ideals and experience, Banks said. The AP NORC poll of 1,116 adults was conducted June 13th through the 17th using a sample drawn from NORC's probability-based AmeriSpeak panel, which is designed to be a representative of the United States population. The margin of sampling error for all respondents is plus or minus 4 percentage points. Respondents were first selected randomly using address-based sampling methods and later were interviewed for online via phone or online or by phone. Now, the reason why I consider this a big deal is because it's literally saying that Democrats are not they don't care about identity politics. Now, I don't know if you do know what identity politics is, but essentially identity politics is essentially using your own identity such as your race, your gender, your sexual orientation as a way to get a job or as a way to get into a job. The thing is that when it comes to this, when it comes to Democratic candidates, I don't care about whether or not they're diverse. Sure, they're diverse and I like to see that. But I don't care about whether or not they are black. I don't care whether or not they're white. I'm not going to judge them based on the color of their skin. Instead, I'm going to judge them based on the content of their character. In this case, their experience. That's how the real world works. People like Grajeda said that. He was for Hillary in 2016. He wanted to see the first woman president of the country. But now all he cares about is stability, and all he cares about is that the next person who is voted into office has experience, and that's what he's looking for in the Democratic candidates. He wants to see experience. He could care less about whether or not the person is a woman. He couldn't care less whether or not the person could be a black person or an Asian person. No, they don't care. They care about experience. And in many cases, that's how real world jobs work. Now, starting jobs, they couldn't care less about your experience. Again, it's a starting job. But when it comes to critical or literally crucial jobs, such as welding, or I don't know, maybe the President of the United States, you would expect that the person that is elected has some degree of experience. That's why I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. The dude had zero experience. So why am I going to vote for a dude who doesn't know what the hell he's going to do in politics? It's kind of like saying, well, you do not have experience as a welder, but I'm going to hire you because, because you're a woman. Even though you have zero experience, you've never done welding in your life, I'm gonna give you the job because you're a woman. I think that's a lot of nonsense. Sure, if she had experience, I would have probably hired her. But the problem is that if you're using your identity as a basis for why you should get the job, I think that's not the case. I don't think you should be getting the job. Period. Any employer, when it comes to a job that requires experience, doesn't care about your race, doesn't care about your gender or your sexual orientation. Many of them won't care. What they do care is whether or not you're able to do the job as it is required to be done. For example, if I am, let's say, hiring for a welding position, if I ask them, why should I hire you to take this job as a welder? And they start ranting about that. Oh, well, because I'm Hispanic, I'm bisexual, I have African American descent. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's cool, but do you have any actual experience? And then the person says, well, I actually don't. I never really been into welding, but I think you should hire me because your company needs more diversity. In that aspect, I wouldn't even hire the person because it's clear that they want to be hired based on their skin color rather than their content of character. In this case, again, experience. And I think this is why a lot of Democrats are choosing more experience rather than leaning about whether or not it's race. When it came to Hillary, sure, she had experience, but I just wish she could have used that when it came to her election. And when it came to her election, the only thing she focused on was because she's a woman. Vote for me because I'm a woman. Vote for me because I'm a woman. We need the first woman president. And I agree. But the thing is that I didn't hear her say, well, because I have experience. I served under the Obama administration. I've been in politics before. I've been in politics all my life. I've been a former first lady under President Bill Clinton. I wish she could have used that, but she didn't. She decided to resort to identity politics. Vote for me because I'm a woman. Well, my mom's a woman too. Should I vote for her because she's a woman? You're saying that we should vote for you because you're a woman, and then my mom's a woman too. So I'm gonna vote for my mom because she's a woman too. Hillary was not the only woman in the world, and when I see when I see the nominations, they're incredibly diverse. And the thing is that when you have a lot of diverse candidates, you can't just play the diversity card. You really can't. Kamala Harris can say, well, I'm a woman. That's why you should vote for me. Elizabeth Warren is a woman too. So should I vote? So the voters are going to be confused. Well, Kamala Harris tells me I should vote for her because she's a woman, but what about Elizabeth Warren? What about Christine Gillibrand? What about her? What about Klobuchar? Should I vote for her because she's a woman too? No, I mean really, like it's ridiculous. It really is. Or what about race? Well, Kamala Harris says I'm a woman and I'm black. Well, Warren might say, well, I'm a woman and I have Native American ancestry, even though it says a 1%, but still, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm really surprised that Democrats, the majority of the Democratic voter base, they don't care about your race. They're not gonna judge the candidates on the color of their skin, but rather the content of the character and their experience in politics, which I really will be looking into these debates. I'm not a hardcore Republican. I'm not a hardcore Democrat. But I will vote for the person that represents my interests and has experience in office. Donald Trump, he has some interests that I share with, such as, a stronger military because we need to defend ourselves from other countries. But he doesn't have any experience. That's why they didn't vote for the dude. Hillary Clinton, she has experience, but she went down the whole route of identity politics, which I clearly despise. I do not want to vote for someone. I do not want to give someone a job based on their gender or their sexual orientation. No, that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, can you do the job? Can you do the job that I'm asking you to do? Can you run the country the way we want you to do? Can you do that? That's what we want. So let me know what you guys think when it comes to the Democratic nomination elections, the Democratic primaries. Are you gonna be voting based on the experience? Are you gonna be voting on the content of character of the candidates, or are you gonna be voting based on their race, their ethnicity, their looks, their sexual orientation? Is that the route you're gonna go? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section whether or not. Do you think this poll is accurate? That's another thing. Do you think this poll is accurate? Because I'm not a big believer in polls, knowing that the last one, when it came to 2016, many people were saying that Hillary would have beat Trump by a landslide, and that was proven to be false. Trump won. So ever since then, and when I see a poll, I'm very skeptical about it. But do you think this poll is accurate? Do you think that Democrats are kind of sick and tired of going with the identity of politics, and they're wanting to choose a candidate based on experience rather than the color of their skin? Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching the video. Like the video if you like the content of the subject that I talked about. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notifications button as well. That way you never miss an upload. And have a good rest of the day. I will see if I can find more articles to talk about. But I think this one's going to be it for today. Have a good rest of the day. Until next time, you guys, and stay awesome.